much better. Our starting point is drill
That's
bits.
right, and Jay, but the point right now is that hypersonic is at the point where we start producing these bits.
Right.
Producing, selling, generating cash flow.
Yep,
That's where hypersonic is now, and that's where they want to be.
Yep. And then, so once now this is the technology, and now it's developed, we are ready to move into low volume production, the first step. So we're moving into production. We have a letter of interest from Fastenal that wants, that's very interested in distributing our nano-coated drill bits that are produced here in Rushford. And we have the technology, and we've reached out to the EDA to help us to bridge this gap between moving from into production. And we're going to do that by installing some equipment into our current equipment that allow us to move into production.
And if I can,
I need to chime in right now.
Sure.
In the interest of full disclosure, Mr. Bunke and myself are both employees of Fastenal Company. We've talked it over with the EDA, we've talked it over with Hypersonic, we've talked it over with our attorney. We do not see a conflict with us making a decision on this, because it's not going to affect our employment status or our personal wealth. Agreement there, Bern?
Absolutely. Dang.
so I do
It's really not. It's not going to move the needle. It's not going to affect the stock price in the morning. So
And you
we're going
got
to
a letter of intent from Fastenal? That's right.
Yes, we provided it.
It's a signed letter of intent
Yes.
from Vice President.
Dan Florness.
Yes.
And we received from.
Is there any questions for the audience right now?
This letter of intent, is this a letter to actually purchase or just to put it on their shelf and you guys gotta foot the bill while the inventory sits there?
It is a letter of interest to, as they worded, to purchase or distribute our, we have a verbal to purchase or distribute. They're making that determination. So what they've asked is that we provide them, they're providing their samples to us, we will code them, give them back to them, and then they'll make the determination which they want to do.
So they haven't signed anything that says they're gonna buy a certain quantity?
We don't have a purchase agreement at this point in time. What we have is, once we have, there are certain standards that we're working with them, expectations of what the performance of the drill bit, basically a data sheet. And then once it's illustrated that our coding is performing to that standard, then it would be moved on to for them to make a determination if they're going to. We know they'll absolutely at a minimum distribute our product. The question is then, do they also want to do it with a purchase order?
When you put this coating on, have you put this coating on drill bits in the past to come up with the numbers that you stated earlier?
Yes, of course.
I wanted to jump in and say that the application for this loan was accompanied by a very thorough business plan and application plan that gets into the testing that's been done, the history of the development of this coating, and I don't know where that stands in terms of providing any additional information tonight, but we have all been thoroughly briefed, and it was, we were skeptical, but the arguments were persuasive. I mean, again, weighing it against the alternative, which is to leave this company languish and write off our debt.
The challenge with the past to today has been, yes, we could put this coating on, and sometimes it would perform very well. The next one, maybe not so well. But what we've been working on is repeatability, so that every time we coat it, it performs to a minimum expectation, a minimum performance standard. And that's really another part of this big shift that's being developed.
So you're saying you have put coating on drill bits
Yes,
and you have run a test?
many hundreds.
Has the EDA or anyone else seen this data?
Yes, the
Sure.
EPA has
Yeah.
seen it all.
That's what was contained in this report. Sales data, marketing data, test data showing the hypersonic bit against the best titanium carbide coated bits out there. The problem that has been, as I understand it, and Jay correct me, has been this repeatability, and that's part of the production process. What we are investing in with this 145,000 is to develop a carousel that will put several bits on a wheel and allow more efficient production, greater control. Jump in.
And what it gives is, it takes out the variables that are harder to control. We need to have this drill bit lying in a certain spot when we coat it. And with our fixturing, although it's very good, it's not perfect. And so we have some variability in where the drill bit lines up in this plasma stream. And so that's where this commercial fixturing comes into place, because it will allow us to coat each single drill bit exactly the same. Right now, when we coat a drill bit, it's almost like, you think of it in a very simple way of, it's an oven, and we open up the door, we put it in, we close the oven, and then we wait a half hour and we take one out. Well, there's variables in that, and so by allowing us to go into production, it takes out all those variables and allows us to obtain a very consistent product every time. And the low volume production, it'll move us into about 10,000 drill bits a month.
10,000 what?
Drill bits a month.
A month?
Yes.
Is that running 24 hours a day,
That's
7
running,
days a week?
no, 1 8-hour shift a day.
So the production you had there before on the drill bits, what happened to that?
Essentially, there was no production. There was research and design. And so production to me implies that there's repeatability, that we're making one, we're setting the standard, we're making many of them every day. That was never happened. Drill bits, many drill bits we made in a day, but they were for testing purposes. So we would coat it, refine it, fine-tune the coating, and then proceed again. So there was never any production. It was all research and design, one-off coatings every time.
Any more public comment?
Mr. Dahl?
Any more public questions?
I do.
Go right ahead.
I was liking this format where he was explaining things and I could just ask questions, but given the opportunity, I'll just ask the questions that I had prior to coming. How much space is this machinery going to need?
Right now, we occupy a space of about 520 square feet, and that'll allow us to function at 10,000 drill bits a month.
You're basically using, the machine is just basically staying where it is, and you're adding a carousel to it
That's correct.
to production.
That's
So
right.
they're not moving anywhere, they're staying exactly where they were.
So they are located where? In the Humble building?
Yes.
I don't know if it.
And we're kind of the industry.
Yes.
It's the old Hubble building. That's Rushford jargon.
What are the energy needs for this?
It depends on, as production grows, obviously the energy.
No, this machine you're going to buy for $145,000, that's going to produce 10,000 drill bits a month, working under 160 hours a month. What are the energy needs for that machine?
I don't have it calculated on per kilowatt hour, but my estimate
Is it going to plug into the wall?
Yeah, it's in a simple sense. It's about $2,500 a month.
So is it 120 volts, 220 three-phase, 480 three-phase?
It's three-phase, I know that. I don't-
Kevin, can you answer those?
It's three-phase, and whether it's 240 or 480, I'm not sure. It's not a terrible, to put it into context, the closest competitor, we use a fraction of the energy they use.
As an
So it's
example,
for what it's doing, it's a very low energy user, it's very green.
and part of the reason is we coat a drill bit in about 30 seconds, 30 to 60 seconds. The other drill bits that are being coated take up to 24 hours of really intense electric use.
This machinery is going to be put in the Humble building?
The machinery is already there,
It's already there.
yes.
Could I just interrupt a second?
Sure.
The original loan request was divided into administrative costs, was it? Inventory, and then the construction of the carousel, what I call a Ferris wheel, to carry the bits. The chamber, the plasma deposition device, that's all done, that's all there.
The thing that I have concern about is the original $500,000, and I realize that that money's long gone and spent.